Thank you, dear Bhumiji. It's always a feeling of entering palace of light when we come on Avyakti Parivar. It's a real honor, really. I never take it for granted. I never just feel like it's a very mundane thing to be with the whole family on Saturday evening. It's always a real pleasure, and just being amazed every week. I don't know how many songs Elizabeth has composed. And so I was thinking that without maybe planning it that way, it's not just Mohini Didi who has been, brilliantly sharing thoughts every night, but I think it has triggered a whole beehive of something happening. What did you start, Sister Mohini? Now everyone is busy with different things. Elizabeth is singing all the time. Gayatri is looking into the archives to dig out all the deep thoughts of Brahma Baba. Judy is analyzing every word that comes from her notebooks. Shireen is just wondering where else to find another ID. Bhumi is creating a new world every day. So I think Avyakti Parivar has really turned into an amazing, bouquet of activities. I'm here every Saturday night, smiling and enjoying your presence. And I feel probably Baba thought that was the only way to fix me and to find a way to finally transform me. So he said, I need this one every week, once a week. Otherwise, he's not going to make it on time. So we're all blessed, really. So welcome, Mohini Didi, and that's my opening remarks, as we say, to express my gratitude to be with you and the family every week. And you talk, of course, about going deep within, introspection, introversion. And I was thinking lately that maybe many brothers and sisters here don't know one side of you, which is actually very entertaining and very funny. And I remember so many classes during which I always enjoyed your sense of humor. And I don't know if everyone knows your sense of humor as much as some of us know it. I know Bhumi knows it very well. She mentioned a few things to me. And, we go into this deep silence with you. But I know when sometimes you used to read them early, and you even said one day, maybe I should crack a joke every few lines to keep you all awake and alert. And the Murli was so entertaining that we really, really, I think at that time in Peace Village, I remember really were enjoying. So how do we keep that balance, between being light, smiling, entertaining, and yet not crossing the line of being extroverted, body conscious, and too much, to the point that we are told at some point, brother, can you just be quiet?
Everything is the creation of mind and intellect. So if there is this quality of introvertedness, which comes from self-respect and inner stability, or just natural attention on one's own self. And then when this natural attention is there, then whatever one does will always be in a balance, in the sense of you can be very deep, very serious, but you can also be very light. I think that creating balance is really an art for anything, Of course, there is this joy, inner joy and inner light that should be our nature. But once Baba had said that whatever we say, sometimes our jokes could hurt anyone or it could affect others. But whatever we share, because it's coming from purity, it's coming from our subtle mind. So whatever we will say or share as joke is just coming in a light way, So how do we create this balance? I think it's through the self-respect and through attention in a way, very naturally. that everything what I do should be spiritual. Because once we cross the boundary of spirituality and become Lokik, then the examples which will come in our mind, the words which will come in our mind to speak will not be very balanced or not be very spiritual. And I always feel one word which was very common when became Brahmin was alaukik and divine. So we used to say our divine brother, sister, even for each other. And then alaukik means spiritual. So I like this personality of being alaukik. And when you are alaukik, then there is difference between lokik. Lokik people always take something from Lokik world, some influences, some words, and but when you are a Lokik, then your creation of words and your thoughts is completely different. So I think that we are a Lokik in the sense of very different from Lokik. And I think that's what the world needed, because that's what the world we are creating, where there will be this alaukikta or this spirituality or a very, very balanced human nature where you can have two qualities different, but at the same time you can really use them.
What are
So
the Hindi words for introversion and introspection? I mean, you mentioned one about antamurti, but is what? How do you see the difference between the two and the complementarity? Or
introverted is antar mukta. Antar means inside and mukta means your face. So it's like you are only looking at yourself. That means in soul consciousness. And I don't know in Hindi introspection. So we look for that word. Which, this is where, like, when you are looking at your face, you are also naturally checking. It's like you look in the mirror and you immediately know what I need to clean or make it right, or So, huh? Yeah, it is called Atma Nirakshan. Nirakshan, inspection. Like you are inspecting your own self. And very beautifully, I like this word introspection, because then no one else needs to tell you. You are able to look at your own self, inspect yourself, and see what is not of dignity, royalty, or a locking, and keep changing that gradually. I think if it's very beautifully, then nobody else has to supervise you, inspect you, or correct you. No, because Baba had said one time that when you have connection with Baba, then you are able to correct your own self.
and how do you know that you're using the right filter, the right way to think or to analyze yourself? Because sometimes some people are said to be too analytical, like if we analyze ourselves, there could be a tendency to analyze the self too much and to become even critical of oneself. So how do you keep it a good balance? I can look at myself in the mirror in body consciousness and check my color and everything, or I can do the same inspection in soul consciousness. So what do you feel is the right way to analyze or to check the self, so we don't go into something too critical or analytical?
No, there are two things. One is, as one habit, I am that anything happens, don't blame anyone. Same as don't blame yourself. And also, I believe that we shouldn't carry guilt about anything, because if anything happened, I accept my mistake and then I forgive myself and I just move forward. Some people sit with some guilt, or sometimes they are weak in something. All of us, I think, we have personality, and there are certain limits. I don't call them weaknesses, but more limits. And so when I know my limit, then I stay in that. And then in the sense of I pay attention and see how I can come out of that. Let's say if there is fear of any kind, fear of what people will say, what criticism, how everyone feels about me. I look at Baba and I say, okay, let me see what Baba feels from me. And I take feelings from Baba for my own self. And based on that, I keep checking. So you can, I think it's checking is only for betterment, only for improvement, not putting you down for anything. So nor this morning I was in a meeting and someone said something which I didn't approve or like. So I said that I accept this, but I don't accept anything which is to blame yourself for what we are doing. We can correct ourselves, but not blame ourselves. So I think if you have love for the self, love, you have self-respect, and then also, of course, you love everyone and have respect for them. So I think if there are certain principles and you keep following and keep becoming the embodiment, then you're not going to hit yourself, beat yourself, or hurt yourself. I can't. I'm very gentle with myself and of course of others. Those who are hard on others, you can see they are hard on themselves too. So be natural, be true to the self. And I would say be what you are. And then from there, reaching to the climax or perfection that's what our journey is about, right?
But I think also maybe there's different depth in the quality of checking. And maybe sometimes we tend to check on a little bit superficial level. I remember very early in Gyan, our charts were very entertaining. Did I eat enough, too much, the right thing? What time did I wake up? How long did I meditate? And I used to make my chart and I used to make it on a big paper and I put it in a cupboard so no one can see it. And I wanted every day, the chart to go up and up and up, but then sometimes it will go down. And so I didn't want anyone to see that. But my checking was a little bit gross in a way, but then it became a little bit more subtle. And today, I think if I compare the quality of checking is really going deep into the soul to see the subtlety of how the soul feels, behave. So you must also have a very sharp eye of checking so that you check the soul and on a very, very deep level. So because sometimes Baba says, how many hours do you remember me? And so we tend to be a bit superficial maybe sometime in the checking.
No, I think everyone begins with seeing that timetable is better, is very good. I'm following all maryadas. In the beginning, we all do that. And then with the time when that becomes our nature and a routine and timetable, and then we, go deeper. And now we look at more about, if there is any alloy in the thoughts, if I have any uh, desire, or is there any, our intentions are clean and our heart is pure, because we know these are our achievements now. Whatever personally I achieve, and for Baba's yagya, Baba's service, now achievements are different, no? That's how last Murli was about Siddhi, no? Siddhi Saru. And Siddhi means your accomplishment. So it is really deeply, whatever we're checking is from the true self. And it's always pleasant when you find that, oh, I could be better in something. I could be better. I could have paid more attention to have more concentration. So I think all the time we come to know what more is needed and we keep improving in that. And I think that checking is in a way taking you advanced, making you elevated, not putting you down in any way.
I know you you said yourself that you're fairly introverted and an introspective person. And do you find that there's a connection between how deep you can go within yourself and at the same time how accurate you can be when you talk about very common things like what type of car to buy and what kind of shawl to buy? And I know I've always been amazed to see you sometimes in class where all our minds are just so lost into the depth, and then I go and see you in the kitchen and I'm in the dining hall, and then we have chit chat about very practical thing, and I says, how can you switch from going deep in Paramdam and next thing back in the showcase of cars to tell me if Subaru is better than Volvo? So I'm always a little bit puzzled with your ability to go from both ends.
No, because means soul enjoys what soul has to enjoy, and then you are in the Lokik world. Like today, this social media training has began. So I was supposed to start it with a message, but I stayed on for all 2 hours. And many times Bhumi Ben will come and say, how can you keep listening? Okay. I said, it's very interesting because, I'm enjoying it. That's why I could listen for 2 hours, because the way, see how people teach and how we listen, and it's all a art, So he was simple, he was clear, and then he was very practical in the sense of when you create a flyer, if there is a contrast, then it catches attention. If there is no contrast, so he was showing some of the things which I thought were good for information, that like if you are teaching and you have 5 points written on the PowerPoint presentation, so people are not listening to you, they start reading it. So if you have PowerPoint, just put 1 point, so they will listen to you, then put second point, they will listen. And I like it very much because sometimes it does happen, no? And I remember one time Dadi Janki was saying that I gave good talk, but someone said, if you begin the talk and say, I have 5 points today, you will see how people start writing. And if you miss the fifth one, they will tell you, Daddy, you didn't tell, you only tell 4. Plus their attention is, 3 things. So I'm just saying that, one wants to learn. And then I told her that if I have to give feedback, then I need know a little bit about what is all this. So I think that it becomes human nature. Like Meredith was saying that I was talking to her husband for an hour and she wanted to know what are they talking. And it was about real estate. And it's true because I am very kind of clear on concepts about real estate. And Baba taught me few things, because in India, when we will rent a building, buy a building, Baba will say, in this clause, you should say that, in this clause, you should. So Baba also, our Brahma Baba was very experienced, and we also live in this world where we need to know everything so that it comes to deciding something, anything,
But
I
you're
mean,
very practical, you're very, very practical. And our intention is to learn, to hear sometimes how you think and see, can I improve? And one thing that I really learned from you is one day you were describing how some people at the, how to call it, the counter when they register for their flight, when they go and check in, when you do your check-in at the flight, and you must have lots of experience in the airports. And you were describing to us in a very entertaining way how some people, they go and they talk to the lady who is trying to book the seat. And they tell her 10 things at the same time. Please, my food, my seat, the toilet, the wing, and the, everything. And you said something very simple. You said, just let the person do her job. And when she has done, then you can say something. And so next, I was probably hearing you in New York. So I had to take a plane back to Montreal. And I saw myself at the counter trying to ask for my seat, for the veg, for the this. And I said, just wait, let her give. And I've always used that for the last 30 years. I always remember you when I do my check-in.
No, because
practical.
I observe a lot, two of us were traveling. So I got my luggage when I reached. Other person didn't. I said, but you didn't let her work. But also, you have to learn. When I start going to an eye doctor, she is a Jewish woman, very, very, very good personality. She laughs, and some other she knows what I do. And so, like when you start checking, is there anything wrong? She said, let me do my work. I will tell you everything in detail. And after that, I learned you shouldn't talk to a doctor when doctor is diagnosing anything. Let that doctor concentrate. And then because sometimes our curiosity or anxiety doesn't, we just want to know immediately what's the result. But she quickly said, yes, I will tell you everything, but let me do my job properly. Because she takes about 15-20 minutes with the procedure, what she has to do about eyes and everything. So I think that sometimes, like one time, one of the I learned a lot from lawyers, because lawyers, when they say things, they like law, right? So they don't say a lot of things. So we were doing some harmony house dealing and I was there. So Ram Prakash was saying certain things, others were saying. So this lawyer said, are you clear what you all want? If you are clear, you will get everything. But if you keep saying, can we get or not? I'm not sure. So you're not clear about it. Because he was saying that when they leave this property, can they leave certain things? So he said, write down what you all need. They will leave it. Or they might say no, but at least you should be clear. Position yourself properly. And I really learned from there that how our clarity of mind, clarity of purpose helps us to get what we want. But internally we are doubtful, then how we going to get it? So I think when we observe in practical, like one thing I like in the clinics, that they have a very light atmosphere. They're joking, they're speaking loudly. I don't know how many of you know that. No surgeon, they keep talking. They keep talking maybe because they want atmosphere to be very light, so everyone is happy, whatever they're doing. So while being happy, it's not they are neglecting anything. They're creating an energy where people can function in a nice way. So when sometimes I tell at centers that let people come and feel happy, not only peaceful, let them be happy, let everyone be happy. Because when we are happy, we can do better. So these days I've been talking a lot about, like Baba said in Murli, happiness and powerful. It's very, very good point that when you know something, you are happy. But when you do something, you get power. So I think we live in a corporeal world and starting centers, living in different countries, cultures, keeping ourselves safe. And Baba's tasked to go on a very, I believe in the laws of the land and also Baba's guidelines. And Eric always says to me, our brother Eric here, that if we do something all accurate, we are peaceful. Peace is not something where you neglect something. Later on, you will have trouble. Can't be peaceful. And I like that formula very much. Let's do everything so properly that we can be peaceful, right? So
talking about how you said to welcome souls at the center and not just peaceful but happy. Someone actually sent not a question but shared a little experience they had with you, bringing someone to you and in the center, and not just, it's a very short little story, but it's very nice. And the soul said, once my father was visiting me, even though he's not a BK, I took him to different BK programs and centers so that he could see what to do and be inspired. I did introduce him to many BK friends and teachers. Everyone who met him was kind enough to talk to him and made him feel at home. When they started conversing with him, they assumed he knew the language they were speaking, English or Hindi. But when I had a chance to introduce Didi yourself to him, it was a different experience. I went with him to Didi, to yourself. And first, Didi took a moment to greet through the eyes. And then her first question was something very, very deep, like you were in deep silence, you went to Paramdam. And then your first question was, English or Hindi? And then he responded, English. And then she started conversing with him in English. So even though this is a very simple thing, I felt a sense of Didi being completely present in the moment. No one else had asked such a simple question until then. And obviously, that made him much more comfortable as he was able to speak in the language of his choice. So to me, this is a pure example of how you can be really, really deep. In French, we say, go deep within yourself. But don't get lost in yourself because you can't come back afterwards and you're lost somewhere. So I think you have that talent of going deep, but without disconnecting from the very simple, practical things that are necessary as well. So
No, but look at Brahma Baba. When I met him first time, he talking to me about my, because I had history and political science. So Baba started talking about, what they teach in history, though they talk about, so he started with very, what are your hobbies? And so Brahma Baba, because I was like 15, 16, he was 83. So he was communicating with me what I can relate to. But if we start talking about angelic stage and awake the stage, I don't know where I would have been. But I got connected with him because he was so human in the sense of he was talking about where I was at joining university or, So I think that it's very interesting. I learned in social media today, this brother is talking about marketing and sales. And he's saying marketing is where you have to create relationship and trust. If people trust you, your YouTube will be watched more or people will listen to, it's called marketing. And sales say then we want them to come to the center. So first you have to learn marketing in the sense of create this trust and relationship with people. And secondly, then of course and then he was teaching how to make flyer and it was interesting. I remember a lot. He doesn't know that I am listening or I will quote him, but I did appreciate his way of teaching. Very simple to the point, and so it was very good. So I think that one thing I always request everyone, learn. There is no harm to learn. Like people close their intellect. I am in knowledge, so I only hear knowledge, right? But it's not I'm hearing wasteful things. And now these days, like this Ganesh 10 days are going on. So some people like to know. So today is his 9th day, tomorrow is 10th. Tomorrow they will put him in the water, immerse it in the ocean. And someone was saying that now they make Ganesh with the material that when it goes water, it should melt. They don't have to do all the effort to immerse. So sometimes it's interesting to know a little bit about 10 qualities of Ganesh, obstacle destroyer, fulfills all desires. Today, I don't know what he is, but I'm just saying sometimes it's good to know little bit because we talk about it. People ask us. So tomorrow we have 10th day of Ganesh ji.
So maybe to learn the in a proper way, we need to have not only a third eye, but maybe a third ear also so we can hear properly. Translate. One thing that I miss a little bit is when we used to be with you and we had a little bit more time in the evenings. There was those little cultural moments, very non-professional, absolutely non-professional. But you used to have very good jokes, and Shantiban also used to come and tell us so many entertaining jokes. So I'm just curious to know, now that you're going deeper and deeper and deeper, are you getting new jokes, or are you not in a subtle region? Is Baba telling you sometimes new ones, or are you finding ways to get new jokes? Because we haven't heard many for a long time.
Our two angels around me, my two angels around me always tell me, again you gave joke, again you gave joke. So they are more created live jokes of the moment than jokes from here there. So Bhumi will tell later one and say that, oh, and they keep laughing all the time because they say, again, look at her. They call it cracking the joke. Again, she crack another joke. I think that I feel if people around me, during whatever I am physically, whatever it is, but if they are light and happy, then their performance will be good. And we all happily will pass few hours. And so I think that's what, is human relationship is about. To be kind and to be loving and to be sharing. And so I like to make life very interesting, elevated, but also entertaining,
You certainly have that art, and we've seen it, but it's good because today is about true power of silence. And I know when we are introverted, introspected, sometimes we want to go so much into it that we forget to keep the balance. So thank you for being the living example in being the balance of that. So I'll keep smiling and enjoying both ends as well. I also enjoy being deep, silent, and yogi, but also enjoy being light and easy and entertaining if possible. So Baba keep telling us you have to be entertaining.
And
so,
entertaining in Hindi is called Ramanik. That means joyful, always joyful and entertaining. Anyway, thank you, Brother Eric.
Are we going to have a happy Toli? Are we going to have a happy Toli or a deep, silent Toli?
Khush mithai, they'll khush mithai. No, they have chocolate chip cookies.
Nice.
Modern they'll khush mithai. Because as soon as people hear chocolate, they like it. Chalo,
thank you, Mohini Didi. Thank
you.
And
thank you, nice. Brother Eric. Yeah, thank you.
Have this meeting, that meeting. So sometimes there's not even time enough to, go and eat bhog or anything in between. So there was one Sunday and it was like almost 12 o'clock. And then I was taking her, helping her from a Vyakti room to the dining room. So while going the stairs up, I said, Didi, today I'm so hungry, in my stomach there is, in Hindi we say chuha, so mouse is running, and now not only mouse, but there is cat and there is a lion and everyone is there. And she simply said, oh, it means they ate each other now, no? So it's okay. And I was so, I said, she said in a so simple way, and I was laughing so much. I don't know if you got the joke, but do you understand?
Yes, we understand. That's what the,
yeah,
that's
so
her talent
lion,
to be
yeah, the cat ate the mouse and then lion ate the cat. So everyone is okay now, no? So it should be okay. So that's one of, but there are many actually. One day Anutaben will share one that was very funny, but other time, next Saturday. All right. Thank you.
I know Mohini Didi is very quick in sharing humorous thoughts as well. So
yes. Thank you, Brother Eric. It was wonderful chit chat, and we always look forward for Saturday. And just quickly, tomorrow